Hi folks, it's Friday morning, October the 6th, day one of Hard Ready 8. This year's session is hosted at the Gastonia Training Center, Gastonia, North Carolina. And yeah, flew into Charlotte last night. A little bit of travel hiccups. Spent about 2 hours waiting around at the Nantucket airport, waiting for fog to clear in Boston. And then once we got there, some luggage mix-ups, but thank goodness I had plenty of time in between connecting flights, and it ended up being kind of a blessing that my connecting flight to Charlotte was actually delayed. Still had to hurry to get there with about a half hour left before takeoff, but it all worked out fine. It was a packed flight, every seat full, every luggage compartment full. So we ended up getting into Charlotte a little more than an hour later than originally scheduled. And by the time I actually got my rental car and left the Charlotte airport, it was about 6:30 thereabouts, and swung by Harris Teeter for some groceries. So by the time I got into my spot at Waterwalk, it was a little after 8. Quick shower, a little bit of pasta for dinner, and early bed. Got up nice and early this morning to get everything sorted out for day one of Hard Ready 8, which will start off with the man himself, Ryan Hoover, and then it'll be a session with his longtime partner in life and business, Amber. And just recently they got married. Big congrats to them. Talk about a power couple. If you're looking for someone on your team when things are really hitting the fan, zombie apocalypse, whatever, you could do far worse than Ryan and Amber. And another little recap of yesterday. When things don't go quite as planned, it's easy to kind of get caught up in how we wish things were going. That's not going to make anything better, and it's probably just going to cause some undue stress. We just need to confront the situation that is actually in front of us and remember that 99% of the time the people around us are just doing the very best that they can. A lot of airlines are understaffed, in some cases chronically, which means the people who are working are very overworked. They're stressed too. They're not glad that your baggage got lost or whatever. And frankly, it's not their fault. They have no control over it. They're just doing the very best that they can. So let's all try and be kind to each other, do our best to just take a breath and confront the situation that's actually in front of us instead of getting wrapped up in how it should be happening or how we want it to be happening. So yeah, getting ready for day one of Hard Ready 8 should be a good day. The afternoon session is going to be a sparring skills session, which I'm really looking forward to. It's not too often that I have consistent access to quality sparring partners on Nantucket, to say nothing of me needing to make time in my schedule, the rest of my training and everything else I have going on with running the business, just to even have a sparring session. And looking forward to some good quality rounds, which does not mean just strapping on the gloves, the pads, and trying to drop each other. That's not quality sparring. Hard sparring isn't always quality sparring. Quality sparring doesn't have to mean you leave with your head spinning. All right? Every session should not be a hard session. There's a time and place for that. You got to know you can weather the storm, but it's not every session. If that's how you're training, you're doing it wrong, my friend. If that's how your gym trains, every session is a hard session and you're just treading water and trying to survive and not get knocked out, I highly suggest you find a new gym. That is not the way to train for longevity, and that's what it's all about, folks. I just turned 40. I want to still be training actively on the mats, sparring, rolling jiu-jitsu into my 60s and even 70s if possible. I plan to be doing this for a whole lot longer, and getting dropped in sparring is just not conducive to that. So definitely looking forward to some good quality rounds without anyone, getting too dizzy and getting rattled or dropped. It's just not necessary. It's not an efficient way to train with your limited training time. Definitely looking forward to that. There's a saying, growth is in discomfort. I'm thinking there'll be a whole lot of growth today, but the wheels haven't fallen off yet. Just hit 40. Things are feeling pretty good. So we'll just have to wait and see how it goes, and I'll try and keep you updated throughout the day. All right, session one in the bag. Things got switched up a little bit from the original planned schedule, which is no problem at all. Amber actually started things off with some really awesome work. I mean, as expected, I knew it'd be great, and it was. Little tip out there for you coaches who are sort of visiting a training weekend like I am. Remember, you're not the coach in this instance. You don't have to coach. You are not the coach right now. You're a visitor.
let the coaches run the seminar. I caught myself a couple of times trying to coach my partner, and it's like, nope, he should work through this on his own. That's how he's going to find his own way to it. And if Amber, Ryan, any of the other trainers in the room, if they have something to add, they'll add it. If your partner actually asks a question and you feel like you've got a good response to it, then sure, you can answer. Or maybe just say, hey, you know what? Let's just flag down the trainer and see what they have to say about this. Let's make sure to get the right info. Because the last thing you want to do is give some information and then the head coach actually contradicts what you say. It leads to confusion, and it's potentially dangerous when you're hands-on training and you start, trading shots, any kind of live drilling or sparring. It can be a big add to the risk of injury. So enjoy the fact that you're effectively on vacation. You don't have to be the coach. Let the actual coach do the coaching. Session one done, quick break, just enough time to change out of my sweaty shirt into a new unsweaty one, grab a little bit of water and a quick snack, and then we're right back to it with Ryan coming up next.
So back at Water Walk, day one of training is done, and the second session with Ryan was really awesome. And then it transitioned right into the sparring skills session. Uh, the session two pretty much built right off on Amber's session. It was a really nice, seamless transition, I thought, and it just had a bigger focus on clinch work, which Ryan, I feel like, is pretty open about the fact that that's basically his favorite training as clinch work. He really feels like the clinch can be where fights are won and lost, and I agree with him. I also agree that it tends to be woefully undertrained in most self defense, self protection programs for a variety of different reasons. Probably the biggest one is because it kind of sucks to train. It tends to be uncomfortable. You're bumping against your partner a lot. Your arms and your elbows and your shoulders get tired from constantly pummeling and wrapping, and your partner pulling away and you chasing them down. It's tiring. It's not fun to train. And if it's relatively new for you, it definitely tends to not be ego affirming. It's difficult, and you realize pretty quickly that you're maybe not in as good a shape as you thought or hoped you were, because it definitely taxes your system in a very different way than most other training. Sparring session was awesome. Some great new drills to bring back to class, and then some awesome rounds with a really great variety of different partners, different body sizes, experience levels, different tendencies, different movements, different everything, which is always great. Again, having limited access to consistent sparring partners on Nantucket, it's just always great. One of the best things about Hard Ready is training with such a variety of different people, none of whom I see, basically, outside of Hard Ready. Some definite familiar faces. The biggest difference with Hard Ready this year is that it's smaller. It's a smaller crew. Last year was something like 80 people. This is more along the order of kind of 24, 30 people, somewhere in there. The energy of a big room is awesome, and part of me does miss that. But of course, a smaller group means you can drill down on the details a lot more focus from the coaches. So that's been awesome too. And especially for someone like me that has to travel for quality training, it really actually is probably better. Getting more attention from the coaches, more ability to ask questions. You can kind of stretch things out a little bit and drill down into details a little, as opposed to with such a bigger group, it would be hard to do that, and you have to kind of keep things moving just a little more. Again, everything has pros and cons. I have really, really enjoyed the previous Hard Readies I've attended, and this one is just really great in a little bit different way. So, yep, day one finished up. It was awesome, as expected. And now I need ice. All the ice. Tomorrow is going to be shooting range day. And for those of you who just prefer the written format, I'll also include a lot of this information in a blog post, and I'll make sure to put a link to that down below in the description. So until next time, rest up. That's what I'm going to do, and I'll try and check in tomorrow from the shooting range and at least give a recap after training. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.